One of my students got this for me last year. It says, "Not a day over fabulous." Isn't that not just hilarious? Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope you're all doing well. Oh my gosh, life has just been so busy. Like, it's just been so busy. It's August 18th, and I'm just now filming my July wrap up. So if that gives you a little indicator, it's just been, like I'm experiencing what it's like having both of my children home on summer break. Neither of them nap at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're just busy. We've been putting our son in like a lot of sports, which is so awesome, so amazing, but it's like it is nonstop around here. And now it is back to school season for both children and myself. If you're new here, I'm a teacher going into my 8th year. Super excited. So much fun. We're just in busy central right now. Also, I did get a third bookshelf. Okay, though, I don't know if you can tell looking at the bookshelves, but they're actually not the same. So before I bought it, my husband's like, "Hey, are you sure it's the same bookshelf before you buy it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure. Like, it looks the same." These actually come with like not two, maybe only two, four, I don't know, whatever. They come with like these bars that you could like put crosses on the back, but like I just didn't really ever want that. But I know these two came with them. And I was like, yeah, for sure, it's the same bookshelf. It comes and it's not the same. But I was like, you know what? I could just put this one in the center of these two. I don't know, you guys, but whatever. If I didn't say anything, you probably wouldn't have even noticed. But yeah, super excited to have a third because I have outgrown these two, my friends. I've outgrown them. So it's nice to have a third. But yeah, so basically I'm here finally filming my July wrap up because we've been so busy. Like, I just feel like I haven't been reading. But then, I looked, I was like, hey, I did get through 5 books in July. And then so far in August, I think I'm up to like 3 or 4. So I'm getting through them. It just feels like it's not at the rate that I usually am. But you know what? Like, that's just life right now. That's the phase that we're in. I knew that it was going to be busy, but also just now having 2 kiddos, I knew that it was going to start, tapering off a little bit. But yeah, so all of the books that I enjoyed and mentioned will be in the description box below for you guys today, both audiobooks and physical books. But yeah, before we get into it, I always like to start with what I'm reading. So if you follow me on Instagram, I've been reading this for like a month, The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. I did an Instagram poll and people were like, they didn't love it. I've been enjoying it and I'm close to finishing, a little bit past halfway. But yeah, it's definitely like fictional fantasy. It's about this woman who like anytime her husband goes up in the attic, a new one comes out of the attic. So I think it's just funny. It's been comical so far. I've been enjoying it. I just haven't had a whole ton of time to like physically be reading. So that's why it's taking me a month or so since I've mentioned that I was reading it on Instagram. Whoops, there goes that. Audiobook I just started yesterday, and it's The Same Bright Stars, written by Ethan Joella. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You guys, I don't know what the heck. I think this was a book of the month pick. I think I've gotten book of the month twice this year. I haven't been jazzed about the picks. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I think I literally have gotten it twice. So I like that subscription because, they don't charge you if you choose to skip. But I'm just like, I feel like I really used to like their thriller choices. And now I'm just like, I don't know, but I will also say 2 of the thriller choices I had arcs for. So I did get to read those, like the Sarah Pekkanen House of Glass and then Peter Swanson's latest, A Talent for Murder. And I actually really, really liked those. So I don't know. It's not like every single month I'm like, because I'm reading some of them early. But yeah, like I'm not getting I'm not getting a lot of physical books from Book of the Month this year so far. So I don't know. I know a lot of people are feeling the same way as well. Hopefully in this like second half of 2024, it doesn't even have to be thrillers. Like, let's just put some other, like, I just want to amp up, you know, the variety a little bit. I don't know. I just haven't been feeling it, but I think this was a book of the month pick. And it is dragging. It's not a thriller though, so I'm going into it, you know, not expecting it to be like super fast paced, but I just feel like nothing is happening with it. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna finish it. But yeah, not super loving that right now. And then E-Read has been One Big Family, or One Big Happy Family maybe, by Jamie Day. This was in my like 8 thrillers video that I was like super excited for 2024. I'll link that up here. It was just books that I had seen that were coming out in 2024 that I was really excited for. And that made it because I loved The Block Party by Jamie Day last year. I read that one. This one it doesn't feel like it's even written by the same author. Like, I remember being so engrossed in The Block Party and loving it and like feeling like I needed to finish it because I was super hooked. This one, not so much. It doesn't, I don't know. Some of it is like, feels like cringe as I'm reading it. Like, sorry to all my Frida McFadden fans out there, but like, it feels kind of like her writing a little bit, which if you're new here, I'm not super jazzed with like her writing. I always feel like I'm super picky with like her dialogue and things in her books, and that's kind of how this one's feeling. So I don't know. Hopefully it starts to pick up. I'm like 30% in maybe. And it is a murder mystery secluded at like a big like manor hotel kind of thing. So that's typically, it's got Heather written all over it. Like, those are the books that I love and like gravitate towards, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it right now. But yeah, anyway, so that's what I'm currently reading. And now we will get into what I read in July. Category wise, I had one smut, that's what I'm calling it. That's what I'm calling it. I'm not even going to categorize it as anything else. It literally was just smut. I had one horror psychological thriller, probably my favorite of the month. And then I had 3 other psychological thrillers. So excited to talk about them. The first one, sorry, I'm leaning over and scrolling down. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad to say this right now, but this book was a DNF for me. Part of it was because it was expiring on NetGalley and I just couldn't bring myself to finish it because I was confused. I was not loving it, and that is The Best Lies, written by David Ellis. You guys, so shocked about this one. So shocked. You know, like, his books have made my top 10 of the year before, I think even last year. So like, I had high hopes, but this was just, there's way too many characters. It's like a crime thriller, but like, I just wasn't engaged. I was bored. Like, just, I had to be like, you know what? It's either I like shotgun it and finish it in these next like 3 to 4 days, which I simply just don't have the time for sometimes, or I just DNF and maybe like purchase a physical copy or get the audiobook sometime in the future. So that's what I had to do for this one, but I was not loving it. The smut book, oh my gosh. You know what? It's definitely like a Bookstagram made me do it. I talked about it, hinted at it a little bit in my June wrap up, and that is Credence by Penelope Douglas. It's smutty. I feel like 20-year-old Heather would have been like super into this, and I would have been like, oh my gosh, like, this is the book I'm reading. And now 30-year-old Heather is like, why did I do this? So yeah, it's about this girl who goes and lives, like, both of her parents die, and she goes and lives with her estranged uncle and like his 2 sons. And they're like secluded in this like cabin kind of thing. Don't read it if you don't like smut. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I feel weird rating it, you know? I would say maybe 2.5, 3. Again, the writing was like kind of cringe. But like, did I have super high expectations? Like, I don't read these kind of books ever. So I wasn't going into it like, this is going to be like 5-star and amazing. Like, I went into it thinking like, I have to see what all the buzz is about. Like, and I never read stuff like this, like, mine as well. But yeah, I mean, don't read it if you don't want to read any smut. Next book, rating scale wise, go get this book now. But I will say massive, and I'm talking massive, thank you to Simon Schuster Audio for letting me listen to We Used to Live Here. 5 stars, unreal, okay? Absolutely unreal. I listened to it. The audiobook is good. Please understand, like, it is good, okay? But this book has a really fun Morse code component, and I feel like I missed out on that a little bit because the girls that I've talked to who have read this physically said they had so much fun figuring out the Morse code as they were reading the book. And obviously with the audiobook, you just hear the Morse code. And like, it did give it a creepy element for sure because the chapters and excerpts or whatever of the book are like super short. So there's these little bits in the book that you're reading that like really add the horror aspect to the novel. I would say this is my one horror psychological thriller one that I had referenced. And I feel like the Morse code, like as you're listening to it, it gets louder and louder and louder and louder, like right before the excerpt ends, which is cool. Like it gives you that creepy vibe. However, I do feel like I missed out on like the fun Morse code component of it because I wasn't able to like sit there and try to like figure out what the message says. But this is a perfect one to add to your TBR for spooky season. It is a great book. I was super scared. There are scenes that I can still remember from it. It's definitely a memorable book, that's for sure. But yeah, it's about this couple who they live together, and some random man and his family come knocking on the door one day, and he's like, hey, like, we used to live here, hence the title, like, is it okay if I show my kids around? And as you're like reading it, you're like, who says, yeah, sure, like, come on in? You'd be like, look at pics on Zillow? Like, I don't know. Yeah, so that's like, that right away, I was like, don't let these people into your home. Like, what are you doing? But it is scary. It's good. It's fast paced. Like, you're going to want to finish it. If you have a stacked TBR right now, or maybe you're like, I don't have time to read, I'm just looking for a book for like October spooky season, this is your book. It is so good. 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Okay. I may or may not, I want to do a dedicated review for this next book, but I don't know, if I'm going to have time to film it today. I don't know. I took a lot of notes when I was reading it. I loved it. And I feel like just from what I've seen on the internet and Bookstagram, like I'm kind of in the minority with it. And that's Riley Sager's newest book, Middle of the Night. You guys know he's an auto-buy author. I'll read anything he writes. He's also fun because I have liked half of his books and I have disliked half of his books. So he's always like, I go into it thinking like this may be something that I just want to throw when I'm done reading it, or like I'm gonna love it and I'm gonna sing its praises. Unfortunately, this ended up being the latter for me. I loved this book. This is another go get this book now for me. I don't know. I think I may film a whole full review for it, so I won't talk a whole ton about it here, but it is dual timelines. It's about this man who revisits his child home actually, and like neighborhood, but he was camping in a tent with his friend Billy when he was 10 years old, and then he woke up and Billy had been kidnapped or taken, and everyone's like, what happened to Billy? Like there was just this huge gash in the tent, but like that was really it. So yeah, this one's spooky. It has some like, you should really read the excerpt on this one and see, because I think this would also be another like spooky season book. Maybe not so much as like, it's not gonna scare the crap out of you, but there are certain scenes in it where you're like, oh my gosh, like it does kind of give you the chills. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I actually read this for an in-person book club as well. And if I'm remembering correctly, I was the one that like really loved it the most, you know? But I've seen on Bookstagram, a lot of people gave it like middle of the road, 3 stars. I loved it. I thought it was so good. So I would read it if you haven't yet. Like, I think it's one of his better ones for sure. The next book is another thank you to Simon & Schuster audio. And I listened to The Unraveling, which is a psychological thriller written by, Vi Keeland, I want to say. I had actually looked up this author after I had finished the book because I felt like while it was a psychological thriller, it was heavy on the romance. And then I looked at her other books and it looks like she writes kind of more like steamy kind of books, and this may have been her first thriller. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember. So yeah, but this one is definitely a psychological thriller. It's about this psychologist who is kind of like stalking this man who her husband, like, how do I word it without like spoiling things? She's basically stalking somebody, okay? And you're like, wait a second, like you're a psychologist. Like, don't you know that this is unhealthy kind of thing? So the whole book, you're like following her, stalking this guy, and then you like learn more about him. And it's definitely fun. It's a good read. I listened to it. It was a great audiobook as well. The ending is like one of those sucker punch endings where you're like, okay, I liked that. But yeah, it was fun. Like rating scale wise, I would say it was an enjoyable read. I wouldn't say it was like, go get this book now, just because like, I don't know. I could have went without like all of the steam and the thriller, and you know, sometimes like some of the scenes just I was like, okay, like let's get on with it. But overall, it was fun, and I think it'd be like a great beach read or just like a quick read in general. August has been good though. I really want to talk about this one, but I'm like, I'll just save it because you know what? It's not almost end of August, but like we're smack in the middle anyways. So I'll be filming that video hopefully soon. But these are all of the books that I read / listened to in the month of July. They are all linked down below for you. If you buy them through Tertulia, you can use my 20% off code as well if there's any books that you want to purchase through here. But yeah. Also, speaking of purchasing books, I'm about to buy, what is it? Something like Incredibly Bright Creatures or something. I don't know. Super hype. It had so much Remarkably Bright Creatures. Okay, let me look it up. Yep, that was it. Remarkably Bright Creatures. I guess this is becoming a movie that I saw in Bookstop. So I know it had a ton of hype, and I'm about to buy it through Tertulia right now. So it can come here and I can read it before the movie. Oh my gosh. Movies and shows. I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about what I watched in July. Okay, not a whole ton, but like if you're new here, I've been doing that in 2024. I've been telling you what I watched in my wrap-ups, okay? First off, the Olympics. Ever since I was little, I've loved watching the Olympics. I love swimming. I love watching gymnastics. We watched a lot of boxing this year. Basketball, like we literally watched everything. That was on 24/7 in our house. Our son was like, are we watching more Olympics today? I'm like, yes, we are. Anyways, that was incredible. Loved it. Finished Love Island UK. Oh my gosh, the couple who won at the end. I was like so happy for them, but I totally thought it was going to be the other couple who was standing up there with them in the final. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I mean, I loved both of the couples, but I was like, oh my gosh, no way. That was a great season. Loved it. And then we finally watched Oppenheimer. I love Cillian Murphy. I'm a huge Peaky Blinders fan. Love it. Like one of my all-time favorite shows on Netflix. Amazing. I love him. So when this came out, my husband's like, we got to watch it. Like, we got to watch it. It's 3 hours. We're not going to be watching that with 2 kids. Especially when we were in like the postpartum newborn phase. My ass was not about to sit down for a 3-hour movie, let me tell you. But we finally watched it. It was good. Did I understand all of it? No. Did my husband understand all of it? No. Probably more than I did. But it was still fun. Phenomenal acting. I see why they took so many Oscars. Loved it. And I cannot wait to film August wrap-up because we have watched a decent amount of stuff in August. Really good things. So I'm like already looking forward to filming that wrap-up. But anyways, my friends, as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have just been having a great summer. I know a lot of you are sending your kiddos back to school. It's that back to school time. But yeah, I just hope everyone is doing well. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.